Welcome to the 8th in the Box podcast. Today is unbelievably November 24th. It's the last week of college football regular season. I can't believe it, but we are here. It's Thanksgiving week. It's a fun week. We got games on Thursday. We got games on Friday. We got games on Saturday. All the games mean something, and we're here to talk about specifically 8 games, but just college football in general, the rankings. We might even address them today. I don't know. My name is Dave Sharapan. I am the Sportsbook Consigliere. You can find me on Twitter at SportsBKConsig. And with me, as always, a little bit later in the morning, back east, my man, the quarterback of the show, Brad Howe. You can find him at BradHowe07 on the Twitter. And producing the show, as always, is Dan Alexander. We call him Newbie. He's at Newbie Talks. B-How, are you ready to go? I mean, college football is coming to an end.
One of the best weeks of the year. Not only is the food great, it's a great week of college football. Rivalry games all over. We had to keep this to 8. We could have done 16. There's a million games we left off. And I know this is a college football podcast, but basketball's rolling from noon Eastern, 11 Eastern, all the way to midnight. The best time of the year.
So, we're going to do game within the game later today. We did it on Monday. We're getting ready for college basketball. I went to the college basketball game last night, 1 versus 2, Gonzaga, UCLA. I know who number 1 is. I certainly am not sure who number 2 is after that last night. I saw some basketball. And I saw a 7'2" freshman who, by the way, in person. Did you see any of that?
Did I see any of that? There's a lot of people that had not seen him. If you're not a diehard college basketball fan, you probably hadn't watched him. You'd certainly heard about him. He is a flat-out stud. Might be a good idea to go find a little future bet on Chet Holmgren for Player of the Year there. He was a star last night.
Could not believe it. I mean, my man could dribble, play. He went coast to coast on one play, and we went nuts. I was like, I kept saying to Mrs. Kinsig, my wife Jessica, I said, this kid can play. This kid can play. So we're going to talk about football right now, but we got all that to talk about later. You can find that game within the game. We did cash considerations this week. Me, Newbie, and Carl Haskell got together, did that. That's out already. Holiday week has us messed up. I was out a little bit late last night, so I got to shake the cobwebs, get things going here. All right, so take it away. Lead us off. This is a cash considerations production. Your lead off number 1. Where are we going today? First in college football.
Well, here's a team that hopes it doesn't have any cobwebs. Let's start on Friday. Cincinnati and East Carolina. Cincinnati heading down to Greenville, South Carolina. Been there many times myself. If you can get over early and get a little Bees barbecue in you, the little vinegar-based barbecue there in North Carolina. Bees barbecue, always a staple of the East Carolina road trip. Went down there a number of times. Great place.
Newbie, have you heard about this Bees barbecue place?
No, but we record here in the morning, and I never wanted barbecue at 8 in the morning so bad. This is sir.
It's good. It's strong. Bees barbecue. Not an ad, not a paid endorsement.
Nope.
We'd love to have them on board.
Come on, Bees.
Come on in with it. I don't think they need advertising, though, boys. I don't think they need it. They roll. All right, here we go. Cincinnati by 2 touchdowns, total sitting 58. This is, I'm going to give you some numbers as we go on the field, but this is more about Cincinnati. Can they smell it now? Can they taste it? Can they feel the playoff? There's been all this talk about, Cincinnati been struggling through the last couple of weeks, which isn't entirely accurate. They've had a couple 7-point games, but they've been handling their business pretty well. Now they're on the road. East Carolina traditionally can trip you up in spots. They were often thought of as a giant killer years ago. Does Cincinnati, before I give you numbers, Dave, just overall thought, does Cincinnati just say, all right, final week of the regular season, we don't have to conserve anything anymore. Gas pedal to the floor. Let's roll. We got this.
Didn't they do that last week against SMU?
Yes, absolutely laid it on SMU.
Yeah, and that was the game that kind of to me signaled we believe it now. All right. I mean, that was their first cover in their last 5 games. Okay. They're 11-0, but only 6-5 against the spread. They won 6 and covered, lost 5, and they're won 5, lost 5, and then covered last week. So I think things were tightening up, and I think they just played. They played a great game. Is this East Carolina team like you described SMU last week? Are they passing because they can score? Like there's some scores. I went through their schedule after having not really watched. I don't think I've seen one play from East Carolina all season. And this totals 58.5. Seems a little bit high.
It does seem high. Let me give you some numbers to go with that. East Carolina has really struggled in pass protection at times.
So listen to these Pro Football Focus grades in pass protection, Dave. A 14 against Houston, a 22 against UCF, and a 31 against Marshall. That's on a scale of 100 being the best. So they've really struggled in pass protection. Now you're going to get a UC defense that's grades as the 4th best pass rush in the country and the 2nd best coverage unit. So just stay right there. If you struggle in pass protection,
they covered SMU. They covered SMU really well last week. Like they limited SMU could score and pass, and they couldn't do anything last week.
Yeah, so you're going to get Cincinnati that's coming with a pass rush and can cover against East Carolina that at times has really struggled in that area. You laying the 14 here?
I am.
You have to, right?
Yeah. Yes. There's no, you know me, I'm always looking to take a home dog when you can get it. The market has spoken already, and they've played they've played Cincinnati. It's up to 14. Now, are we worried at 14? No. We would be worried about what, 17? Like you feel like we missed the number. We're playing Cincinnati in another, dare I say, route. They if they win by 14, that's a good win. So, yeah, I like Cincinnati. The under feels like it's in play again, and it's one of those things where we talk about how many points is actually East Carolina going to score. Don't think they're going to score very much. I think they have a bad matchup. So 58, we got to worry about Cincy putting up a 50 burger. If they put up a 50 burger, the game's going over. But let's get about 38-10, 38-13, somewhere in that neighborhood. That keeps us under the total, and a Cincinnati cover.
Or Cincinnati, as some say.
Cincinnati.
All right, let's move to Saturday. Here we go, right in your wheelhouse. Let's go Big Ten. We got a couple good Big Ten games to look at.
Yes, we do.
Penn State and Michigan State.
Oh.
So is the story here the game, or is the story here the two coaches running around the sidelines holding up the lottery tickets they have? Because we got like $200 million in coaching salaries on the line. James Franklin gave you a textbook on how to, well, let me say this. He gave about as bad answers as you can give when somebody asks you if you're staying or leaving. He couldn't have handled that any worse.
Yeah.
They were clearly negotiating and using leverage. He's staying, massive new contract at Penn State. Does that stabilize them? Does that matter? Does Michigan State get worried after getting beat by 3,000 points last week by Ohio State? So I've got numbers here too. Just overall mindset. Two coaches making billions of dollars. Michigan State rattled. Penn State, are they any good? What do you have here? Just initial thoughts.
So it comes out yesterday that Franklin got the 10-year contract. It's good until 2031. But then it really came out that it's like 2 years and then another option, and then or the third year has another option. And they're guaranteeing $70 million. They have to pay him $70 million. It's
more than that. It's the whole contract. It's the entire contract is guaranteed.
It's ridiculous.
If they fire him, it's the entire contract from wherever it is.
Yeah. I guess that's why he changed agents. That was amazing. Somebody else put it out, but I'm more excited that I get to bet Penn State season wins under for the next decade because he's got Franklin as the coach. So I hope that Tucker got that contract lined up before he got 59 hung on him in that game, or 53, whatever it was. I know they only got 7. It was 49-0 at halftime. 56. I have no idea how that affects the game on the field. I know it has to affect the prep going into the game. I would assume Michigan State might be a little more motivated in this game, the players, because that was just, you're ready for ideally your biggest game in the year, and you're not. You got House. It was 49-0 BL. I mean, they had no answers. But you said it. You pointed it out that their pass defense was really bad. Like
worst in the country. And yards per game, worst in the country.
And Ohio State exploited it. Penn State's not going to be able to do that. They don't pass it like Ohio State. What's a number look here? Because the game's pick. I mean, it's slid already now to Penn State -1. There's a Penn State -2 out there. Like all the early money so far is all on Penn State. And the total Big Ten game, 51.5. Let's see exactly. I'll get you a number to think. Yeah, 51.5 we'll call it, because there's some 52s, but we'll call 51.5.
Couple numbers to look at. Injuries concern me a little bit for Michigan State. You know, Kenneth Walker's the engine that drives that team. 1,500 yards rushing, 17 touchdowns, probably has done enough to get an invite to New York for the Heisman, even though he may not win it after last week's performance. Just 6 carries, 25 yards against Ohio State, sat out most of the second half, may have a little bit of an ankle. Questions around receivers for Michigan State as well. Jaden Reed sat out the second half of Ohio State, had a boot on his foot. Jalen Naylor hasn't played since the end of October. So I'm worried about the offensive injuries potentially for Michigan State. But here's what I think, Dave. Penn State's only allowing 3.5 yards per rush as well. So decent run defense. You mentioned the offense for Penn State. It's senior night in East Lansing. If the injuries are okay, I know that's a big if. Senior night in East Lansing off a terrible performance when everybody was watching you. That has to be a buy low on Michigan State. Give me the home dog, right? Isn't that the scenario you want? Buy low on a team that's had a great year, going for his 10th win against in what is basically a coin flip game, home senior night points. I've got to go that side, don't I?
Absolutely. I like Michigan State in the game. Newbie was at the Penn State Rutgers game last week. Newbie, what's the quarterback situation for Penn State?
So nothing has been announced. I think if you're Franklin, you just roll with the true freshman quarterback, the guy out of Canada. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, because then the listeners will even take less credence in anything that I say. But he was Dyson, man, and I don't think you need to go back to Clifford. So I would stick with the true freshman. Nothing been announced yet, though, Dave.
Well, that tells me if there's any hint that he's going to play and the money has moved already toward Penn State, somebody likes him. All right. But again, if that is the case, we're going to start him on the road at Michigan State on senior day after the thumping that they took. I'm leaning Michigan State B Howe right now. I'm leaning under as well. I think Penn State's defense slows down. I don't think they stop. I think they slow down Michigan State. This looks more like a typical Big Ten game, in my opinion. First team to 30 wins. The other team doesn't get 30. 28-24, 28-21, somewhere in that neighborhood, 27-21, bunch of field goals. Game under, Michigan State wins, in my opinion.
I'm with you, but check the injury news first, right? If Kenneth Walker's out, that's a whole different deal. That would also
he got to play.
Penn State too, if somebody knows something there. So check Kenneth Walker, to me, is even the bigger injury story in that game.
Right. Okay.
Okay, stay in the Big Ten, the big game. Ohio State, Michigan. Kenneth Walker's had such a good year, I'm going to refer to him in 2 different games. How do you like that? Kenneth Walker's going to make an appearance in this game. He's had such a good year. Didn't last week. Mentioned, and here's why it's relevant. Ohio State held him in check last week. I know he sat out the second half. Michigan wants to run it. We're going to talk a lot here about the Ohio State offense, and rightfully so. C.J. Stroud went bananas last week. But again, you said it. I said it last week. It was against that bad Michigan State pass defense.
Yes.
That's not what Michigan is. Nope. Here's the key to this, and I've got some trends for you after we get your thoughts. Here's the key to the whole game, I think. Michigan's pass rush is elite. Hutchinson on the edge is an absolute beast. Can they put pressure on C.J. Stroud? Because if they do, that's when you start to go, okay, that's how Michigan keeps it within a touchdown here. Or if the market's moved up to 8, even in some spots, you get another point, which is obviously a key move. The numbers will all tell you Ohio State, the trends, what's happened in past years, Harbaugh in big games, Harbaugh against Ohio State. All of the trends tell you take Ohio State. recency bias, Ohio State last week. But can that pass rush for Michigan that is so good, can that disrupt Stroud and these receivers enough to keep you within the number?
Nobody, and I mean nobody so far, thinks that Michigan can win this game, let alone cover. I started with Big Ten Ben on Sportsbook Sirius XM on Monday morning, and he gives me this. This is the 117th meeting between these two schools, and Ohio State has won the last 8, 15 of 16. The last time that there was a one-score game was 2016, and Ohio State won in overtime. I side with the defense in these good game situations. Both teams are 10-1 straight up. You know who has the better record against spread, don't you? Michigan is 9-2 against the number. Ohio State 6-4-1. All right. It's pretty simple. If Michigan can do exactly what you said, pressure the quarterback, not give up more than one big play. I think Ohio State is like the best, offense in the country as far as scoring on a big play like that. Those wide receivers are amazing. And Stroud won the Heisman. That first half, he won the Heisman. We said he could win the Heisman. In that game, he won it in the first half. It's his to lose now. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Michigan stays within the number. That's my first thought. First thought is Michigan stays within the number. The books opened it a little bit low. I think the books are good with the position. But then you talk to some other people. When I did a show, with Wager Talk, Teddy Covers went to Michigan, bets and stuff, gives out picks and all this. He said anything less than 10 is a bargain.
I'm going Ohio State here. This is my show me game, Dave. This we do it every week. Mm-hmm. This is my show me. The right side's probably Michigan. It's probably taking those points. It's probably time for them to get off the schneid. It's probably time for Harbaugh to get the win. It's probably time for it. I'm not. You got to show me. I'm doing Ohio State at less than 10. If I can get it at a touchdown, I'm taking that. Give me Ohio State.
Okay. Show me what you got.
There it is. We heard that. That worked. Did Michigan show you anything last week putting up that big number against Maryland? You're not sold yet.
No, because it's Maryland.
Okay.
So no, just simply no. No,
right.
Michigan's had a really good year. Listen, that's probably the right side. I'm just not doing it. I'm going Ohio State until I'm shown otherwise.
Okay. I'm taking the points. I think it's going up. I mean, it's 8 now. I think you're going to be able to get close to 10. It's 8.5 next, and then 9, and then you might get something, but it's going up. Books are going to need that position. Listen, I've been in the books all the last 2 decades. Needed Michigan every year. It ain't ever worked out. So why would this year be any different? I'll take Michigan in the points. Under or over?
Well, the last 7 in this series have gone over.
Over.
The last 7 have gone over.
That one, until somebody shows us. I think Michigan can win and it not go over. I don't think Ohio State wins and it does not go over. So if you like Ohio State, it got to be over. If you like Michigan, it could stay under. But even then, could be one of these 38-31 games, something like that. So I would lean over, but it could go under only if Michigan wins.
All right, let's jump out of the Big Ten. Here's a fun one for you. Not a lot of people talking about this one, Dave. Let's do a little Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners against the Mean Green of North Texas. UTSA's had a storybook season here. They're ranked. They're going for an undefeated season. But here comes North Texas. They were awful early, couldn't get a win, and now all of a sudden, here they come. They need this game to get bowl eligible. They're running it really well. I'm not going to give you a ton of numbers here. This is just it's a lot of points. It's 10.5 points in favor of Texas San Antonio. Are they looking past North Texas? Big rivalry game, but are they looking past this when they host the conference championship game next week? Bad spot for the Roadrunners.
It is, but they're that good. A lot of sharp people have been on this UTSA team. They're 11-0, 8-3 against the spread. You said it, North Texas, 5-6 straight up, but 8-3 against the number. Man,
4 straight wins for the Mean Green as well. 4 straight wins.
10.5. The total is 60. That's close to being one of those, like, it has to be dog and under, favorite over. Man, I feel like I'm flipping a coin a little bit. I think the number's good. Like, sometimes you get the number where you're like, it just as odds makers, you're like, yeah, we got this one right. There's minimal movement. So I'm trying to look at line movement, where it might go. I don't know. I think, who are they hosting? Are they hosting a good team next week in the game? Do we know?
I mean, the Conference USA Championship?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I haven't got that far. I got to get through this week first. Don't ask me things about next week. I got to get through this week.
It's like trying to get the dessert before the turkey comes, and Thanksgiving meal. I understand.
Pull a check on you. I'm focused on North Texas and UTSA. I don't know why you're looking ahead. You just pulled a UTSA. Are you looking ahead? I'm focused on this game. UTSA.
Lay the points. Ooh. They finished the season strong and ready for the Conference USA. Give me UTSA. Oh, yeah. It's 11 o'clock start. It's a weird start time. I don't know. It could be the game they blow up. I don't know.
No, fine. Here we go. Let's just go to the next game, because now all of a sudden you're me and you're just taking every big road favorite. Now you get a road favorite there of double digits. You just want them. So here you go. I'll serve you another one along with your mashed potatoes and your sweet potatoes and all your stuff. Here, fine. You want road favorites? Take Alabama minus 19.5 against Auburn. Iron Bowl. Iron Bowl here. Now, Auburn, no quarterback. Bo Nix out. TJ Finley in. How big a difference is that? I would think that's a fairly big move. No starting quarterback. Alabama's off that win against Arkansas, but they didn't cover. Now talk about look-ahead spots. Talk about look-ahead. Alabama with Georgia coming up in the SEC championship. Do they look past this? It's at Auburn. Weird things happen at Auburn in this game. Too many points? Or are you taking them?
I think the number reflects the changing quarterback. I mean, it was going to be big anyway. But, I mean, it's up to 20 at Circa. Last week we saw it, though, right? We saw Arkansas able to move the ball, score 35 points. Man, Alabama gave up 41 to Texas A&M and lost. They gave up 35 to Arkansas and lost and won, but only won by a touchdown. How many points is Alabama going to score? 55.5 total in this game. This is dog. I ain't taking no home favorite. I ain't taking no home team or road team laying 20. 20? No way. I'm taking a dog.
Last week,
tell me why I'm wrong.
Auburn off that loss to South Carolina. Okay. They generated minus 0.26 EPA, expected points added, minus
per pass. Per I heard you last week. Expected EPA per pass, right? Supposed to say that part.
On this. Minus per pass play, a 28% success rate. That's the offense you're taking here.
Is that good?
That is not good.
It's not good.
That's what you want? You're putting your money on that one? Okay.
You make it sound so easy.
Alabama. Alabama, 22-9 against the spread as a road favorite.
Pretty good.
Of double digits, of 14 or more.
Oh, you threw that part in late.
Now, Auburn, 6-2 against the spread when hosting Alabama, if you want a number to help your side.
Well, that's what these numbers do. Sometimes they help, sometimes they hurt. They don't cover last week.
Well, don't let me off it. No, I'm trying to get you into some trends. Sometimes it's home favorites. Sometimes you like the points in the home team. Take it. That's your thing. Take it.
I am going to do it. I'm going to take Auburn. Did they get laughed out of the building here? I mean, could they lose this game 58-17? Maybe. Well, you like Alabama, don't you?
That's a lot of points. And Alabama's defense isn't what the defense has been. Again, I'd say same thing. That you're probably the right side. That would be uncomfortable for me to sit there and watch that one and be on the Auburn side. It's probably right. To be honest, I'd probably stay away. There's enough other things going on. I'd probably stay away.
All right.
But I would lean Alabama until Auburn shows me differently without its starting quarterback. How about that?
Yeah. As you get late in the season, these injury things are real. Like,
yeah.
I mean, if he's hopefully he's getting all the reps. Obviously, he's ready to change the game plan, keep it kind of like low key, try to run the ball, which I think you can do a little bit.
And Auburn can. I mean, Auburn obviously runs the ball.
Yeah.
They've got a running back. So that's, yeah, I see you.
Okay.
I won't argue too vehemently against
All
you.
right. All right.
Okay, let's go to another one. Another fun rivalry game, Big 12, Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. I'm going to pull a little trivia. You know what they call this series?
Is this Bedlam?
It is one of the, I think maybe the best name out there.
It's
best
great.
name out there for rivalry. Bedlam. It's perfect.
Bedlam.
Okay. This is a tough one here. Now let's dig in here because this is tough. Every trend I'm going to give you, every piece of history, all of it tells you Oklahoma. All of it says take Oklahoma.
Really?
I have loved this Oklahoma State defense all year. They have been absolutely dominant.
Mm-hmm.
Dominant. And they're getting a true freshman quarterback here. This isn't the normal high-flying Oklahoma offense we've seen in past years. And this is a really good, highly motivated Oklahoma State. Don't discount how pissed off they are about Oklahoma jetting on them and leaving them behind, right? Mm-hmm. Oklahoma jumps off the boat into the life raft and speeds away as Oklahoma State's waving at them. So they've got that chip, plus the chip they always have against Oklahoma, plus an absolutely elite defense here. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, which side you going? Give me the latest number.
Oklahoma State. There's not like, I think the number's a little light because of the history, because of the brand name. Oklahoma State and Oklahoma are both 10-1 straight up going into this game. Oklahoma State is 9-2 against the number, while Oklahoma's 5-6. Their only loss, the Cowboys, was at Iowa State on October 23rd. They lost 24-21.
Yeah.
They've covered 9 straight games. And you got me on this defense. They did what you said last week they could do. They could win a game, not scoring much, pitch it a shutout. You said, oh, they're good if they score 3, if they score 7, because they ain't letting the other team score. That's what happened. The last few games have been 3-0, 3-14, 4-17. Like, they're not allowing points. Now you got a struggling. Listen, Oklahoma's offense isn't nearly close to what it has been in years past. Freshman quarterback on the road, first time in the Bedlam game. Give me the defense. I'm surprised that the number came this low. I figured it would come a little bit higher, 5, and then come down. Take the bets on Oklahoma. I'm surprised. So they put the number a little light, but the number's being bet up. I think it's going up. You better bet Oklahoma State today when you hear this, if you like Oklahoma State. And then if you like Oklahoma, I think you can wait. This is an under 2, Howe. 51. Like, it's funny. We talked about this happening it's down to 49.5 this morning. I wrote 51.
Yeah.
Last night. It's 49.5 or 49 in places. Definite under in this football game, which sometimes but it's the short number. You don't have to be on the dog side. I like the favorite.
Couple things here. First time since 2009, this total's been less than 50. Makes sense again because of the defense. So here, listen to this though. OU 17-1 when both teams are ranked in this series. OU 7-1 run against the number against Oklahoma State. That's what I mean. It's been all Oklahoma. Home game for Oklahoma State. The motivation, the great defense. I'm with you. This is true freshman quarterback Caleb Williams, who's going to be a star and has been at times this year. You got to show me you can handle this. This is men playing for Oklahoma State on defense. Here's one thing to watch though early if you want to get involved in the live market. Watch how this game is being officiated. One of Oklahoma State's things that they do, they are very handsy and grabby on the outside. They play press man coverage on the outside and tell you, you can't get by us. We're going to grab you. We're going to hold you. We're going to mug you until somebody calls it. And if you don't, you got a long day. If those officials are letting that go and letting them get handsy on you on the outside, you got no shot. So live line, if you're watching total or side, watch how this is officiated. You see some laundry thrown early on some holds, some defensive holds or pass interference, look out. And that's trouble for Oklahoma State. If they're letting it go, ride the Cowboys here.
Is this the Big 12 championship game? Is this like round one of? Is this already set, or does Oklahoma State have to win? And
No,
then
and I forget the scenario, but Oklahoma can be knocked out of the championship game. So it might not necessarily be round two. I think it's if Oklahoma wins, you get a rematch next week. If Oklahoma loses and Baylor wins, it opens the door for Baylor, I think. Don't hold me to that.
All right.
Okay.
So Oklahoma State legitimately, I mean, a bunch of things have to happen. I don't think they can get in the playoff, but they're going to be right there for a ginormous bowl bid, all kinds of things. Their season is still very, high end potential.
Yes.
Oklahoma, I don't know as much. I mean, they're coming from further behind in the rankings, and I don't know where they're going to end up. But a rematch next week would be cool. But I like Oklahoma State this week.
I'm with you. All right, let's stay in the Big 12. Not as sexy of a game here, but of some interest to me personally. So we're going to do this one. West Virginia at Kansas. West Virginia at Kansas. Mountaineers, this is a big number here. West Virginia's struggled mightily this year. They did beat a bad Texas team last week to pull themselves within one game of bowl eligibility. Don't look now, but Kansas is kind of sneaking around a little bit. Lance Leopold, probably a pretty good hire by Kansas. 6 natties at the Division III level. 6 natties. You can coach. Doesn't matter what level. Kansas beats Texas on the road to end a 56-game road losing streak. They come back last week and cover. So 2 weeks in a row for Kansas. I'm not sure West Virginia should be laying double digits against anybody, given how their offenses looked. Let me give you some other numbers here. Ready?
Yep.
On the road under Neil Brown here in season 3 for West Virginia. Just one win in its last 9 games away from Morgantown.
Outright win.
Ooh. Just 4-11 on the road under Brown since he took over in 2019. Neil Brown is 2-0 against Kansas. Average winning margin, 13 points. Average margin of victory under Brown at WVU is just 8.5 points.
Overall.
So when West Virginia wins, it normally doesn't blow you out. When it's beaten Kansas, it's only averaging a win of 13. This number, though, to me feels odd because when I first saw it on Sunday, I wondered if you book guys are tricking me because I immediately said, oh, that's too many points. Give me Kansas. So that almost flips me the other way. And I say, maybe West Virginia wins here by 3 touchdowns. What am I doing? What am I doing here on this?
It's one of those games where it won't draw much action, but the action that it draws is more sophisticated action is the word I like to use. Like a lot of people that are doing this on the regular. And the boys at Circa opened this 17 and it came down. So I think, odds makers don't know everything. You put up a number first and you see where it goes. All of those numbers and trends and things like that, the record under Brown indicates that Kansas is the play. You got to take the points. I think they may have overshot the mark a little bit at 17. The number probably should be 14. Would it shock you if West Virginia lost this game?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but no, because I think Kansas has improved. West Virginia is battling a ton of injuries and just isn't great to begin with. Kansas made that quarterback switch and went to Jalen Daniels. He's been fantastic for 2 games. It's changed Kansas. So if you want to go back and look at the season on Kansas and try and handicap this, I think you're in some trouble. This is a different Kansas team that maybe for the first time since Mark Mangino was there, is playing with confidence. If you look at it the other way, West Virginia needs to go in and you assume, I know not everybody wants to keep playing when you've had a tough season, but you got to assume they want to win and get to a bowl game. But if I'm Kansas, I'm looking around going, well, this is a below 500 team coming to our place. We just went on the road and beat Texas. We played in our game against TCU last week. Let's go. Bring it on. If you're Kansas, they have to have a little bounce for the first time in a long time. This scares me if you're West Virginia. It really does.
Scares you absolutely for an outright win. Just win the game.
Yes.
In this situation, you got to lay more than 2 touchdowns? No chance. There's no chance. This is a perfect late November home dog type of game that I would sit in the book and laugh like, what in the world were we thinking with this original number? Like, I have a feeling that at late Saturday night, it's a 4:00 Pacific start. 7:00 back Eastern. You're going to be left wondering, man, we always remember the numbers that it falls on. Oh, that game fell 7. Those guys had 7. How do they do that? This is going to be that one where you're going to be going, you know what? Nobody really knows. Nobody knows because the odds makers put up 14.5, 15.5, 17.5. West Virginia wins a very close game or loses outright. Kansas plus the points, the side for sure. The total's interesting, B. Howe. I think it's an ugly game. I don't think it's a very high scoring one. They played Texas in one, and it was high scoring. They went back and forth. 56.5 feels way too high to me. I like under. I like Kansas. I think Kansas money line has a shot.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So I'm going to end up on West Virginia and walk right into the trap. I'm going to end up on Kansas and walk into the trap. I might take West Virginia as we get closer to Saturday.
Are you doing your show Saturday? You gonna use this is a late start for you. So do you start late?
Yeah, we'll do 9 hours of coverage around this game in the evening. Be on the air till midnight Eastern. Let's go.
Oh boy,
Let's go.
I like early in the morning, B. Howe. I can't imagine what late night B. Howe is like. Oh my goodness.
Multiple coffees. Multiple coffees is what that is.
Where do we tune in to hear that? If anybody wants to listen,
you could listen at wvmetronews.com. wvmetronews.com if you want to hear it. We'll be on for 9 hours.
Well, you can call me.
The right to change my opinion on that.
Yeah. All right. Look, I'll be available if you need a little like halftime take on that game. You can give me a call. We'll be watching.
We might do that. All right, Here we go. Let's wrap it up here. The favorite segment of the week, the highest total of the week.
Bam. Thank you, newbie.
So we went Maction last week. We went Saturday Maction.
Yeah, we went under.
It always goes under. 75.5.
Shutout.
Wasn't close. 38-0. Wasn't close. 75.5. I have to say, though, I've played these each week. I've actually played all of these along with us. I didn't last week. I just said I can't do it. Remember, we said on the show, if there's one that's going to break it and go over, it's this. Kent State can't stop anybody. I'm not touching it. Wasn't close. This
is a theme for those of you that have crossed over, listen to Game Within the Game, you'll know. But B. Howe's a lot of times those best plays are the ones he just doesn't make. Like we talk about it, he goes to push the button, he's like, I don't know. Or something gets caught up in the way and he forgets, and then you look back and he goes, I did it again. Like, so me knowing that you didn't play it now, that makes perfect sense. And then pitched a shutout and they got half of the number that it was set at.
How many of us are in the Sports Betting Hall of Fame on plays we didn't make but we looked at? Pretty much everybody, right? Everybody. Had a fish this big on my hook. It got away. It was this big. Par for the course. All right. Let's see. Let's test it again. Let's close the season at 10. So that's what? That's 9-2 now, our run for the last 11 weeks. 9-2 to the under.
Yeah. Under.
Okay. Well, here we go. Hold on again if you want to ride the trend.
Oh, boy.
Western Kentucky at Marshall, 75.5 again. Western Kentucky now, Dave, they throw it around. They lead the nation in passing yards. They lead the nation in passing touchdowns. They go fast. I mean, they are an up-tempo offense. Marshall's defense at times has looked good, but, man, it's looked soft at other times. Hilltoppers need a win to get in the Conference USA title game. Remember, you talked about, isn't that against UTSA next week? Isn't that who they might have?
Yeah.
Kentucky here, you asked me that earlier.
Yep.
Western Kentucky's 3 straight overs, but the totals in those were 64, 62, and 66.5. This is the highest total of the year for a Western Kentucky game. So they're fast. They're going to play a lot of plays, but this is their highest total. Marshall's highest total of the year as well. Their previous high was 66. Okay.
Yeah.
These teams are going to run some plays on you now. I mean, this is up 10. There's a reason it's this number. On average, Western Kentucky runs the 14th most plays in the country per game at 76.5. Yeah. Marshall runs 71.6, so 72 plays per game on average. You want me to go further? You want me to do some calculations? Okay, since you asked. Here we go, some calculations. If this played according to what their season averages are, and you went plays or point per play for each team,
Keep up.
And they got to their average number of plays.
They did.
The number is 40 to 34. Right at 70, right? Just a tad under.
That's what the line is right now, actually.
Correct.
I was just going to say.
Right on the line.
The number is right now 74.
Okay, there it is. Right on their average points per play.
Yeah.
So does it go above that? Does it go under that? And you know our theory on this. The reason we often go under with totals this high, you just need a couple stops, right? You need a fourth down. You don't convert. You need a couple 3 and out, literally a couple 3 and outs, and the thing stays under. What are you doing here?
Under.
Yeah.
I don't even want to debate it that much because one, we've had some crazy stuff happen this morning with all this recording, and I don't want to keep, our boy here too long. But I also, you ever see the movie 8 Mile? Do you remember that movie with Eminem?
Yep.
When he went against Papa Doc at the end, he went first. And then Papa Doc held the mic and he didn't have nothing to say because, B Rabbit said it all. I did all this research on this game. I feel like Papa Doc. I feel like I got to hand the mic back right now. I'm like, wait a sec. He said what I was going to say. He said everything you just said I was going to say, other than 8-3 to the over for Western Kentucky. 5 games to start went over. Then they had 3 unders, 71.5, 67, and 78. A game close 78. And they went under. And now they're those 3 straight overs. I think this number's a little too high. This should probably be 69, 68.5, somewhere in that neighborhood, and let them bet over. So I'd be sitting in the risk room kind of disagreeing right now, saying, I think we overshot it, boys. Get it down, move it to 72, 71, get the lowest in the market, see if we can take a bet over. And plus, have you heard the show? It's called 8 in the Box with Brad Howe and Dave Sharapan, and they give it highest total of the week, and they said this thing's going under. So people should be listening to the show. We're going under, B. How I ain't taking over. No way.
I'm not going over now on this trend. We're just going to ride it right into Thanksgiving. Take it under.
Hell no. Yeah, that's it.
That's good. I'm glad you said that because you know what? I've actually already played it. I'm in at 75.5.
Look at you. You got the good number. All right. Last question before we go. Pitt's playing Syracuse. I know you got to remind you that Pitt's playing just like you did, a couple weeks ago. And Pitt's playing Syracuse. They're laying 13 on the road. They're playing for the ACC Coastal Division. They're going up to Syracuse. They're 9-2, 8-3 against the number. Syracuse is 5-6, but they're 8-3 against the number. First thought, note, I know you got no numbers because I caught you off guard. You laying or taking in that game?
So I was just going to ask you what Syracuse's cover number was because I knew they've been having a good year against the number up there, Dino Babers. Listen, the Dome can be weird. Been up there many times for games. It can be weird.
Yep.
That's a lot of points on the road. I know Pickett's been fantastic. That offense has been good. We've talked about that Pitt defense. At times it can pop up and get you a little bit too. My first instinct, you've taught me, take the home dog. That's a lot of points on the road. So my first instinct would be there, but I wouldn't hate Pitt if you told me that with that offense. But my lean would be Syracuse.
Keep an eye on that one. I think Syracuse is live to win the game. Definitely plus the points as a play. Something to think about. Do you like pecan pie?
No.
I don't either.
No.
Like, newbie, do you like pecan pie?
I do. I love it. I'm not really a pie guy, but the pecan, however you say it, I'll stuff my face with it. Go a la mode with it. Warm it up a little bit. Oh, baby.
Okay. What's your one go-to, B. Howe, Thanksgiving that you got to have? Like whether it's a side dish or a dessert, because everybody has either turkey or ham. What's the side dish for you? What's the dessert?
So 2 side dishes I have to have. I'm a big mashed potato guy.
Okay.
So I must have mashed potatoes, 1 and a 1A, 1B, deviled eggs.
Oh,
deviled eggs. Just pop those bad boys. Like it's not even, you don't even bite it and then take another. It's like just boom, just pop it.
Yeah. What's the dessert? You got a dessert?
I'm just straight pumpkin pie. Don't mess around. Pumpkin pie. Yeah, that's
pie,
it.
Old staple. All right. Newbie don't like pies, but he's a big food guy. You got to go listen to Cash Considerations. We literally broke down the different things, but that's going to do it for the Thanksgiving show. We are out of here. We wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving, a great football weekend, And we'll be back next week after all of the chaos, all of the bedlam, all of the Iron Bowls, and the Land Grant Trophy at Penn State game. For Dan Alexander at Newbie Talks, for Brad Howe at Brad Howe07 on the Twitter, and myself, I am Dave Sharapan, the Sportsbook Consigliere at SportsBK Consig on the Twitter. This has been 8 in the Box, a Cash Considerations production. We'll talk to you guys next week.